You're not going to want to miss today's episode because we're going to tell you why 401ks make you poor and stupid. 401ks create a loss, a lie, and make you a lemming. Stick around to find out more.
Enjoy the episode.
Take care.
Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast, where we teach clients how to build wealth and create passive income without the risk of Wall Street.
Welcome to the Infinite Wealth Podcast. I'm Cameron Christensen, along with our co-host Anthony Faso. Today, we are talking about why 401ks make you poor and stupid, and we've got 3 points that we're going to hammer home today. Number one is why 401ks create a loss, 401ks create a lie, and number three,
my favorite one,
is they make you a lemming.
I would say, Cameron, this is gonna be difficult.
Why?
I think there's so many more than 3 points, right? But I think we're going to try to stay focused just on these 3 topics. But I think we could spend a couple hours talking about why we don't like 401ks. But as you told me earlier, let's just focus on these 3. So exactly. I'm going to try.
Yeah.
No guarantees.
Yeah. We've got 3 bullet points here, but we've got a lot of information that we're throwing in there to support our statements here. So, Anthony, let's clarify a little bit. When we're referring to 401ks, tell our listeners kind of what that entails, what falls under that umbrella.
Yeah, we're using a 401k, but really we're just using that because maybe that's what everybody, typically is familiar with. But it's referring to an IRA, 403b, 457, a TSP. All of those are considered qualified plans by the IRS. So we're just kind of lumping them in of saying 401k.
And they all make you poor and stupid.
Yeah, every single one of them. Okay.
We're not biased at all, right?
Well, let's see. I don't think so.
I don't think so. All right, Anthony, kick us off here.
Okay.
See what you got.
The number one reason 401ks make you poor and stupid is because of the loss.
Oh, loss of what?
Right. Even the father of a 401k, Ted Benna, had told the Wall Street Journal that he helped open up the door for Wall Street to make even more money than they were already making. And one of the problems here is that dollar, once it leaves your paycheck and goes through into that mutual fund or investment, touches a lot of hands, and every hand is going to take a little bit out, right? There's fees inside your 401k plan. Actually, 401k plans are very cost heavy, and those is pretty interesting to how they will hide those. Because I remember when we instituted a 401k plan at a place that I worked before I learned about infinite banking, they just pass all those fees that they just hinder the performance. Yeah. It's very interesting. But there's fees inside the 401k. Who are the advisor, or even if you're doing an IRA, your financial advisor is getting a piece. So is the company they work for. So is the mutual fund. And there's expenses inside the mutual fund. Like, there are expenses all throughout. So those expenses are going to be a big piece and I'm not even talking about investment performance. It's just really all of those losses from fees. You know what the biggest loss is, Cameron?
Your hair?
I tell you,
I don't know why I said that. No, it's good, man. It's good, yeah.
And it's so far so good, right? No, you weren't even close, right? To me, the biggest loss we have with 401ks is the lost opportunity cost.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, good point.
Right? Because what happens is most people, unfortunately, put a lot of their money or tie it up into a 401k plan.
Yeah.
So what that means is when they need it, when life happens, right? When there's a medical emergency or you lose your job, or more importantly, an opportunity, right? To invest in an asset, that money's tied up. So in order for us to take it, we're going to have to pay taxes and a 10% penalty if you're under an age that's set by the government, right? But Karen, like, if you're listening to this podcast, all the opportunities we have presented on here are typically better suited outside of 401k. So when that money's tied up in there, if you can't access it.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of our listeners following Robert Kiyosaki, we want our passive income to be more than their monthly expenses. You can't do that when that money's locked inside the 401k.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned locked inside and having access to money. One of the stats that I always remember, right, is that if you go back and you look in 2011, Americans withdrew $57 million out of retirement accounts. 2011, right? That was 3 years after kind of the Great Recession, right? Everything was at its low point. And so particularly people should have been coming up out of that phase, but still they're tapping into those accounts that they shouldn't really be, or the ones that kind of have the access restricted. So pulling out $57 million out of those types of accounts doesn't take into consideration the taxes or fees that those people paid on top of it. So again, right, it comes down to the loss, right? When you put money in there, you're going to be subject to losses. And if you guys are listening to this earlier, Anthony made a very good gesture on little hands that were going into the account.
If you're watching,
if you're watching, yeah, if you're listening, you got to go back and watch that. So, right. Number one reason, right, that these things make you poor and stupid is because there's a lot of little pieces that get taken out of there. The second reason that 401ks make you poor and stupid is because it is a lie.
A lie?
Lots of lies here, right? One of the biggest lies that I think is perpetuated in that whole kind of platform is that when someone receives a statement at the end of every single month on their 401ks, what does it say, Anthony? At the bottom, right? As we didn't prep this. So I don't expect you to know the answer.
This is your balance?
Exactly. It says your balance, right? At the bottom, right? It says balance. This is your money. And if somebody receives a balance and it says every single month, it says that you have $100,000 in this account, mentally people think I've got $100,000. Anthony, if someone has $100,000 balance, is all of that money theirs?
No,
right? Most of the time people don't make that connection until you point it out to them. And so then they go, oh, shoot, there's not only my money in there, but there's also taxes that I've just chosen not to pay quite yet. And so one of the conversations that we have often is, hey, where do you think taxes are going? Do you think they're going up or do you think they're going down? A lot of times the answer that I get is, I don't think they're going up. I think they're going way up. Right. And so then the question is, well, do we want to pay our taxes now today in a lower known tax bracket or tomorrow in a higher unknown tax bracket? So one of the reasons that it is a lie is because that statement that you receive every single month, in my opinion, is inaccurate. They should break that out between those two sections there. But all right, the next one that I would say, the other reason that it's a lie is because most people believe that when you have your money inside a 401k is that you are investing. That is a lie. You are not investing. In our opinion, our definition of investing is, hey, I do A plus B is going to give me the outcome of C to a very high likelihood. In reality, what people are doing inside of the 401ks is they are just purely speculating. You've got no control. You've got no cash flow, no collateral on those types of funds or investments in there. And really, at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're just hoping and praying that there's going to be more money for you when you come back for it, 20, 30 years down the road. So another reason why 401ks make you poor and stupid is because it's a lie, right? What else we got?
Well, I want to add a little bit.
Yeah, go for it. I was looking at my notes.
To me, I would say the biggest lie. So you add up all the lies that you stated, this one lie is even larger. Okay. And that is the lie that people think you're saving in taxes. Or you kind of alluded to it, but you didn't take it home big enough. So I'm going to take it to my own.
Oh, run the thing across the finish line.
A lot of times what we're told is, hey, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire.
Yeah.
Right. I would tell you, for me, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be pissed if I work this hard and that I haven't created enough sources of income to maintain my lifestyle. Right. But even if you're not an investor, what I would tell you, odds are you're still not going to be in a lower tax bracket. And the reason being is the biggest tax, Cameron, what are your two biggest tax breaks right now?
Probably mortgage and kids.
Yeah, mortgage and kids. And when you're in retirement, hopefully the mortgage is paid off or close to it. And hopefully those kids aren't still living with you. But even if they are, there's no tax advantage. So we're losing our two biggest tax deductions. But the problem is, if all of our sources of income may be taxable, Social Security is taxable, spouse's Social Security, your 401k, your IRA, if you're maybe working a part-time job, maybe hopefully not to make ends meet, but hopefully you just want to
socialize.
Yeah, socialize and produce. All that's going to be taxable. So even if your income is down, we are going to be, we may be in the same or higher tax bracket because all of our income is taxable and we're losing our biggest deductions. And I'm going to even take it a step further, right? This is one thing people don't realize. When one spouse dies, their surviving spouse no longer files their taxes as married filing jointly. They're filing as single. So those tax rates are about double. So to me, the biggest lie is that you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire.
I'll throw in another lie. This is what I was searching for earlier when I kind of lost my place, is that, right, the 401k, right, specifically the 401k is what I'm referring to now, was never designed to be someone's sole retirement vehicle. You referenced Ted Bennett earlier. They call him the 401k, but he's referenced many times kind of how the 401k came about. And really, it was an ancillary account to an executive's kind of pension plan, is really how this thing originated. And then pension plans and defined benefit plans kind of went by the wayside. And what happened is 401ks kind of moved into position A for most people. But if you go back to your research, 401ks were never designed to be the sole retirement vehicle for anybody, really.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Awesome. Anthony, give us lesson number 3.
Well, there's another lie, right? And
I thought
to me, that I honestly, not that we're keeping score, but my lies, I think, are a little bigger or more impactful. Another lie that 401ks are make you stupid and poor is a lie that it's going to be enough for your retirement. And I know you kind of mentioned about it shouldn't be your only source of income, and it shouldn't, but that's what a lot of people believe, that this is going to be enough. And here's one of the many problems with having the 401k as your sole source of income, is because of the volatility of the market. It can be very tricky of how much you can take out each year and ensure that you're not going to run out of money. And for the longest time, the financial industry has tried to solve that problem, and they came out what was called the 4% rule, meaning you take 4% out of your portfolio a year, you will not run out of money in theory. Now, there's two problems with that. For one, let's say you're able to get $1 million inside your 401k, right? 4%, that's $40,000 a year. I mean, $1 million, saving $1 million, I think is great.
And that's a feat for a lot of people,
right?
Yeah.
40,000 a year. Talk about a buzzkill.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, if that's in the 401k, that 40,000 after you pay taxes might be closer around to 30.
Yeah.
So if you're lucky enough to save $1 million, well, I wouldn't say lucky, because it's not luck. But if you're diligent enough to save that amount of money, the problem is you're living off of 30,000. And to make it worse, there's so much more volatility of the market now. They're saying the 4% is too much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, another lie on why the 401k is going to make you poor and stupid is that it's not going to be enough for you to retire.
Nice. Here we go.
I'm looking forward to this one.
Yes.
Okay. So the third reason 401ks will make you poor and stupid is because 401ks create lemmings. Now, I've kind of been using this a little bit, talking to people. A lot of people don't know what a lemming is, but I I'm going to take back to lemming is a rodent that is known to follow the leader literally off a cliff.
Mm.
And I remember I used to have a Commodore 64, right? And there weren't too many video games back then, but Lemmings was, at least I thought, was a cool game. And the whole plot of the game is you were like the lead lemming. Your other lemmings are going to follow you no matter where you go. So you had to navigate through this maze of safety. But if you were to take a wrong turn and fall off a cliff, all the lemmings behind you are going to fall off the cliff with you. And when we have this 401k, there's no individual picking, or we're just really following the pack. We're following the leader, and the lead lemming is Wall Street. Right. Yeah. So we're going to follow them wherever they go. If they fall off a cliff, you will be following, you'll be following as well.
Well, they get bailed out, so they don't actually fall, but
yeah.
They
have parachutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But then you're going to go smash on the ground.
Exactly. The other thing that that came to mind as far as thinking of in terms of lemmings, when you're investing in your 401k, right, there's no education, right? The reason that people follow is because they're not thinking for themselves. Mm-hmm. So one of the questions that I would ask, right, if you have a 401k, when's the last time you walked out of a meeting where someone was discussing their 401k with you and you're like, man, I feel like I learned a lot today. Like, I feel like I got a really good handle on how this thing is going to perform and how it's going to go up or how it could go down moving forward, right? So that right there, just based on pure education, is one of the questions I would have. That is what turns you into a lemming. You just don't know better, so you follow the leader. Yeah,
and if you follow what everyone else is doing, you're going to get the results just like everyone else, right? And if you want above average results, you need to do things that the average person is not doing.
Yeah. Anthony.
Yes.
When we talk about 401ks, there's always one point that comes up, right? And that point is, well, what about the match? What are your 2 cents on the match? Is it worth it or not?
Well, as we typically work when we're working with a client, again, we want to educate them.
Yeah.
We don't want to make the decision for them. We want to show them, explain the pros and cons, and let you make that decision. Okay. But the way you phrase it is, what would I do? Okay. And what I recommend with my clients is, I will say at first, it sounds appealing. It's kind of hard to turn away that match. And I get it, but we got to think through a couple things here. For one is, how long are you going to be working at that job? Because typically the reason why they have the matching is they're trying to keep you as an employee. And one way that they will do that is typically you may have to have some sort of vesting schedule, or meaning you may have to work there so many years before you have the right to that match. Meaning if you leave there in a year or two and that vesting schedule is 5 years, you're not going to get all, or maybe only a portion of that match. So then at that point, we're doing it all. We're doing it all for naught. And a lot of it is going to depend on what that matching is. Some places the match is very strong, and that would be very hard to turn away. But if it's a very minimal match, I think at the bottom line, you have to figure out, what are your goals and what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
And if you're trying to get financial freedom, we need to put our money in accounts that will allow us to achieve that financial freedom. What would you say?
Same, right? Or something very similar, probably a little bit more stated more eloquently than what you just stated, is that I can see why people are tempted with that match. Those are like the carrots that the companies, right, will dangle in front of you. Number one is going to be the tax advantage, the incentives there, and then also that match to put your money in there. Again, I know exactly what I did is when we started in this career or in this industry, there was a company that was funding a 401k for me. I did not match. And as soon as I had the opportunity to access those dollars, I liquidated it, put it into my policies, and I don't know how many times over I've turned those dollars since then. So that was my experience. Again, start with the goals, see what you're trying to get accomplished, and see if that contribution is enough to make any sort of movement on where you want to go. And if it is, maybe it's something that you reconsider. So,
well, Cameron, you're right. You kind of just regurgitated what I said, but in a more eloquent manner.
Exactly.
Good job.
Typically do.
Okay, Cameron, we've been bad mouthing 401ks. Is there a situation where you would recommend a 401k?
There is. The situation in which I would probably recommend a 401k is our audience. Typically, the reason that somebody's listening to us is because they want control over their money, right? Is they have capital, and what they want to do is they want to go put that to work. They want to create a return, and their goal is financial freedom, typically in some sort of accelerated timeline, right? Not 60, 65, right? It's, hey, 5, 10 years, something like that. If someone does not have that goal and someone does not want to oversee the management of their funds, their finances, I could see how a 401k would be a good fit for them, right? Is just to outsource that and not think about it. So that would be the situation that comes to mind there. What about you?
Well, I'm going to give a different point of view. I totally understand where you're saying, especially 401k is easy. I mean, now, do you don't think it's interesting the government is now requiring companies to automatically enroll them into 401k? But that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
What I would, for many people, the only thing they're going to save is going to be a 401k because it's right there, right? Because they want to be a lemming. But what I would say, what they're really looking for is an account that they can put money in that's going to grow, that they can use for retirement. And ideally, when life happens, they have the ability to access that money penalty free. And how about in the meantime, if they die, their family gets a windfall? And Cameron, if you haven't figured it out, you know,
it's a Roth IRA. I'm just kidding.
You can use your whole life policy. If you don't need to invest with it, you don't need to put that money to work. But I would say if you were to put a 401k versus a funding a policy the way that we design it, and again, we'd have to use a little less premium because we're not getting that so-called tax savings, right? But that way we're working with dollar for dollar. We have done the math on that, and we actually have a video in our course that compares putting money in a IRA, 401, or really an investment account versus a whole life policy the way we design it. Because really, the whole barometer of what we're trying to accomplish on one of these plans is cash flow and retirement. And so if that's the goal, that's the barometer we should use to compare the two. And the problem gets to be, as I alluded to before, with the volatility of that 4% rule, we got to have a lot of money in there. But by putting the money inside the policy, we don't have as much volatility, which means we can take out a higher percentage each year. But in addition, I guarantee you life's going to happen and you're going to need that money. Just like you mentioned, Cameron, in 2011, $57 million were taken out of the investment account. I wish we knew how many of those paid the 10% penalty, right? But if that same money would have been inside their policy, there would not have been a penalty. And also, most of these people that we're talking about here, I'm going to say odds are don't have very little, but definitely not enough death benefit. By using this, our whole life policy, we can accomplish having permanent death benefit. Now, the downside of this strategy, when we're talking about using lemmings using it, this would be very tempting. They could just take that money out, take a policy loan and not pay it back. So that is the downside of these people potentially using a whole life as a retirement vehicle. But if they don't have that discipline, then I would agree that a 401k is a place. And one place that I do recommend people use, and I wouldn't say a 401k, there's plans called a self-directed, either IRA or 401k, which that means that it's self-directed, meaning you can direct what investments you're going to invest in. So it doesn't have to be the stock market. There are still some limits, but for example, you can buy a lot of the investment opportunities we've had on this podcast can be done through a self-directed IRA. And the reason why, or when I would use a self-directed IRA, would be when the investment we're using is at an ordinary tax bracket, right? Which is the highest tax bracket. So if we put it in that IRA, self-directed IRA, we don't have to pay taxes every time we are putting that money to work. So that's for people who want to invest in high income or high taxable investments, or also if you're in that really super high tax bracket, you got your other ducks in the row. I could see a place, but maybe just throwing some money in there every now and then.
Well said, Anthony. Well said.
I'm not going to argue with you, but
awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We covered kind of the three main reasons why 401ks make you poor and stupid.
If this is something you have questions about, should you do a 401k? Should you do IBC? Get on a discovery call with us. Let's talk about your goals and see what is the best thing for you. Now go make it a fantastic day.
Take care.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode. Also, check out our website, infinitewealthconsultants.com, to find our podcast along with other additional resources.